From 90 miles per hour to thunderbolts of magic balls that turn square, cricket has been defined by its bowling legends. Welcome to the ultimate countdown. We are ranking the top 50 greatest bowlers of all time. Did your favorite make in the list? Let's find out. At 50, Graeme Swann, the man who spun England to the top of the world rankings with his classic off-spin and infectious energy. At 49, Tim Southee, a master of swing who has led the New Zealand attack for over a decade with incredible skill and intelligence. At 48, Jason Gillespie, the unsung hero of Australia's golden era, known for his heavy ball and unrelenting accuracy. At 47, Harbhajan Singh, the Turbinator, whose fighting spirit and doosra broke Australian hearts in 2001. At 46, Craig McDermott, Billy the Kid was the spearhead of the ATS, swinging the ball away at sharp pace when Australia needed it most. At 45, Josh Hazlewood, a modern metronome who hits the same spot ball after ball, suffocating batsmen into making mistakes. At 44, Zair Khan, the master of reverse swing and the knuckleball, who engineered India's 2011 World Cup triumph. At 43, Vernon Philander, the pro who didn't need express pace to be deadly, just lethal seam movement on a dime. At 42, Rashid Khan, a global T20 superstar whose lightning-fast arm speed makes him a nightmare to pick in any format. At 41, Ajanta Mendes, the mystery spinner who took the cricketing world by storm, mesmerizing bowler with his unreadable carom ball. At 40, Makhayan Natini, a fitness machine who bowled from wide of the crease to become the first black South African cricket icon. At 39, Daniel Vettori, the bespectacled genius who carried the Kiwi attack for years with his guile and drift. At 38, Rangna Herath, the left-arm mystery spinner who stepped out of Murali's shadow to become a test match giant. At 37, Shoaib Akhtar, the Rawalpindi Express, the fastest bowler ever recorded, who terrified batsmen with pure, unadulterated speed. At 36, Brett Lee, a chainsaw-celebrating athletic marvel who combined extreme pace with beautiful outswing. At 35, Trent Boult, one of the greatest left-arm swing bowlers of the modern era, lethal with the new ball in hand. At 34, Nathan Lyon, the GOAT, an Aussie off-spinner who conquered pitches that never suited spin to take 500 test wickets. At 33, Saqlain Mushtaq, the inventor of the doosra, who revolutionized off-spin and baffled the world's best batsmen. At 32, Lasith Malinga, Slinga Malinga, the Yorker king whose unique round-arm action made him a white ball immortal. At 31, Mitchell Starc, the most destructive white ball bowler of his generation, famous for shattering stumps in the first over. At 30, Chaminda Vaas, Sri Lanka's most successful pacer, a master of swing and seam who owned the new ball. At 29, Ian Botham, Beefy was the ultimate match winner, a golden arm genius who made things happen whenever he took the ball. At 28, Mitchell Johnson, the man who grew the moustache and destroyed England in 2013 with the most terrifying summer of bowling ever seen. At 27, Kapil Dev, the Haryana Hurricane who carried Indian fast bowling on his back and finished with a then record 434 test wickets. At 26, Andy Roberts, the father figure of the West Indies pace quartet, who used to different bouncers to devastating effect. At 25, Jeff Thomson, with a slinging action like a catapult, Thomo was quite possibly the fastest bowler to ever play the game. At 24, Bob Willis, a wild-eyed warrior who charged in from the side screen to bowl England to victory in the miracle of Headingley. At 23, Pat Cummins, the complete modern fast bowler and captain, relentless, accurate, and always delivering in the biggest moments. At 22, Ravichandran Ashwin, a cricket scientist who constantly reinvents his craft, dominating batsmen in Asia like no one else. At 21, Kagiso Rabada, a strike rate phenomenon who burst onto the scene young and has been taking wickets for fun ever since. At 20, Stuart Broad, the man of the big occasion, famous for his mesmerizing spells that can decimate an entire batting lineup in a single session. At 19, Jasprit Bumrah, with a unique action and incredible variations, he's the complete package and arguably the best bowler in the world right now. At 18, Courtney Walsh, the Ironman of cricket, a tireless workhorse who became the first man to cross the 500 test wicket barrier. At 17, Alan Donald, White Lightning, who bowled with fierce hostility and became the symbol of South Africa's return to world cricket. At 16, Shane Pollock, a perfectionist who could land the ball on a coin, nagging batsmen into submission for over a decade. At 15, Anil Kumble, Jumbo, the leg spinner who didn't turn it much but won matches with heart, bounce, and a famous 10-wicket haul. At 14, Michael Holding, Whispering Death, the man with the smoothest run-up in history and the pace to haunt batsmen's dreams. At 13, Waqar Younis, the master of river swing who crushed toes with his bananas and formed the deadliest duo in history. At 12, Joel Garner, Big Bird, a giant who delivered unplayable yorkers from the clouds, making him the most economical bowler in ODI history. At 11, Imran Khan, the charismatic leader who mastered river swing and willed Pakistan to glory with his aggressive fast bowling. At 10, James Anderson, the king of swing, a marvel of longevity who has taken more test wickets than any pacer in history. At 9, Curtly Ambrose, a silent assassin who let the ball do the talking, using terrifying bounce to destroy opposition lineups for fun. At 8, Dale Steyn, the Steyn gun, possessing the best strike rate of the modern era and the ability to swing the ball at express pace. At 7, Dennis Lillee, the complete fast bowler, who combined pace, movement, and a menacing attitude to become the idol of a nation. At 6, Wasim Akram, the Sultan of Swing, a magician with the left arm who could make the ball talk both ways at high speed. At 5, Glone Mcgrah, the pigeon, who proved that line and length is the deadliest weapon of all, predicting his wickets and then taking them. At 4, Richard Hudley, a one-man army for New Zealand, the rhythm master who was the first to reach the magical 400-wicket mark. At 3, Malcolm Marshall, the smartest fast bowler ever, who had every trick in the book and the pace to execute them perfectly. At 2, Shane Warne, the king of spin, who delivered the ball of the century and revived the art of leg spin with his incredible theatre and skill. At 1, Muralitharan, the smiling assassin who spun the ball like no one else, holding the world record with 800 test wickets. That was the definitive list of the top 50 legends of the ball. Who is your personal number one? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more cricket history. See you in the next one.